Well, let's just focus on the U.S. domestic market regarding TikTok. 170 million eyeballs, users, 5 million small businesses spending $9 billion in acquiring customers and selling their goods and services. It's the largest entertainment and business network in America as it stands today. And so it's of great interest and great value. The question is, what price is it worth given the focus now by U.S. regulators on the leakage to the Chinese Communist Party of the actual users' data? That's the big problem.
What price do you think is right for TikTok? Because as per the Financial Times report, I think an analyst at Wedbush Securities said minus the algorithm, the business, while it has 170 million subscribers and decent revenue growth, would be valued at around $40 billion, so sub $50 billion.
No, I don't agree. I think if you don't get the algorithm, which is, everybody bidding on this, and there's various syndicates being formed. I'm one of them, and I think I have a huge advantage because most of these users know who I am. And you have to be a steward to change it from TikTok China to TikTok USA. But the algorithm is where you serve up the videos, the preferences and the purchase behavior for the last few years, and it's very valuable. So everybody assumes you're not going to get the algorithm from the Chinese government, and there's no question that they will not sell it. And so I think the bidding will start, because really what you're getting is the brand TikTok domestically, which is valuable, and 170 million users with no data. So I think 20, 30 billion is where that starts, and the market will be the market. But this deal is not going to happen without the endorsement of whoever's in the White House when it actually comes to market, which will probably be in January or February next year, because Schumer is not going to advance this before the election. That's the assumption. So everybody's speculating about this sale. This is the fourth attempt to sell it, but now you've got bipartisan interest in this bill. And it'll probably pass right after the election, and then it'll be jump ball to see who gets it. I think really there'll be no algorithm, so you have to rewrite the algorithm. That's complicated, and you've really got to try and look at what's going to happen in how much leakage there'll be of users. We have something recently in the case of Twitter, a $44 billion valuation when the deal was done 18 months ago, today worth between 12 to 16. So you've lost 2/3 of your money after tweaking the algorithm. This is not easy to do, very complicated, but yet very interesting deal.
It's a very interesting deal, but from what you're saying, it seems like it may not happen. I mean, you're looking at buying TikTok. We had Matt Higgins yesterday, and I don't know whether you guys have had a conversation, but he said he's reached out to you to discuss whether or not you guys can get together to buy the social media platform. Steve Mnuchin has evinced his interest. So all of you are talking, but from looking at just the reality, it seems like you're saying that this will not go through, that we'll see a replay of March, or rather what happened in 2020.
No, I think it's 50-50. I mean, we have an example as presidents. Let's talk about two different examples you can look at in terms of how this could play out. The Indian situation in India, where they had 200 million users. The Indian government doesn't trust the Chinese government. This concept of cognitive warfare on the algorithm. They simply turned it off. And nothing happened. It went dark. So what? 2 weeks later, no one cared. That could happen in the United States as well. Anything's possible. And then you've got the case of Grindr in the U.S., that after Chinese interests took control, the U.S. government said, no, we can't have that because gender identity of servicemen and women in the U.S. military are exposed there, and they forced the sale back into U.S. control. That could also happen here. It's an unknown, but there's value here today. Now, if we can't get this thing done, that's fine. And by the way, in terms of these syndicates that are being formed, I get phone calls every day. Every hour somebody calls me about, can they join the syndicate, or so how are you going to raise the 30, 40 billion?
Are talking?
Absolutely. I like Matt Higgins, and we know each other. I'd love to have him in the syndicate, and many others. I'm going to leave on April 3rd.
Who else would you like to have? Who else would you like to partner on this deal?
Well, the first thing I need is to get a syndicate of capital, and I'm going to go to Sovereign Wealth for that and pension plans. I'm leaving on April 3rd to crisscross Europe and the Middle East. to find out who's interested in this deal. I had a chance yesterday to speak to Trump, who has a 50-50 chance of getting in the White House. I know I need his endorsement. I'll do the same with Biden's administration. I mean, I'm agnostic. I'm completely bipartisan on this, but you're not going to get this deal done without the White House and national security concerns quelled. So I have to work with that. This is the most complex deal ever in social media. And I have to build a new algorithm, and I'm arranging for that with coders that are U.S. domestic, because I know with certainty the Chinese government will not pass that algorithm back. They're not going to do that. So I'm thinking, and no one knows with certainty, but my bidding will start in the 20 to 30 billion range, unless there's somebody else that wants to do it, or the U.S. government will just turn it off because they can't agree with the Chinese on terms. That's okay, too. However, it's a very interesting deal, and I like it.